What's up? Roland here. This week on 3D NerdStop, we're going to go over the basic functionality of our smart LCD controller, and then we're going to print off a couple test prints. Alright guys, well before we go over the basics of the smart LCD controller, let's get our prints ready for the printer. So these are the prints I'm going to do today. I'm going to do this XY 20mm calibration cube, because I have found the same thing. When you pop a calibration cube off the build plate, if it goes flying away, it's really hard to tell which is the X, which is the Y axis. Well, this one has X and Y printed on top of it, so you know which is the X axis and which is the Y axis. So then it makes it easier to know if anything's out of calibration, which one it is. So we're going to print this one. Of course, there'll be a link to it in the description below. And then we're also going to try the benchy test. This is a 3D benchy. A lot of other channels use this one as their test mark. I thought it was pretty cool. I figured I'd try it this one time, see how I like it. So we'll download this one. Now, I have noticed now, which is kind of new in Thingiverse, if you haven't noticed it yet, that when you download one, now you get all of the copyright information on your material before, as it's downloading. So you get to see whether there's any restrictions on commercial use or anything like that on it before you try and use it. So we'll download both of those and get them all unzipped, and then we'll open it up here in Cura. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the calibration cube. So we'll come in here and we'll get our calibration cube and open it up. As you can see, ta-da, it's a little calibration cube. If we want to, we can look at our smells, and we see that it is 20 by 20 by 10. So the z-axis is only 10 millimeters high. The 0.9 is probably the text on it. So it gives us a 20 by 20 cube, which that works just fine for what we want to do. Since we know the dimensions of it here, we'll be able to put our calipers on it and make sure we're getting the correct dimensions. So, okay. So we can see that this is going to take 15 minutes. And it's going to take almost 1 meter of material, which is 3 grams. Okay, we're going to print this at a 0.2 layer height at a 1.2 side, top, and bottom thickness with a fill density of 20%. We're going to do this at a print speed of 60. We're going to do this at 210 for the extruder and 50 for the bed. And of course, no support material on this. So what we'll do is we'll just shoot this off real quick to our SD card. So we've done that, so we can get that one out, and then we can bring in the benchy. And there we go. There's the benchy loading up. It's a cute little boat. Okay, so here's the benchy. We'll also add this one to our SD card, as we can see that it's going to take 1 hour and 19 minutes. It's almost 5 meters of material, which is 15 grams. We are going to print this one at our standard 0.2 layer height, 1.2 shell thickness, and top and bottom thickness. We're also going to do our fill density at 20%. We are going to do our print speed at 60 millimeters a second, and we are going to do our extruder temperature at 210 and our bed temperature at 50. We're not going to do any support material on this because I want to see how this comes out without any support material done to it, because I believe that's the way you're supposed to do this as a test, to try and print the whole thing without support material to see how good your printer can do it. So that's what we're going to try. Alright, so let's switch over to the printer now, and we'll go through the LCD. We'll go through the smart LCD controller. We'll just go through the basics of it and how to use it and everything, and then we'll get it printed. Alright guys, here we are. We're at the printer. So we'll switch the printer on real quick. Hopefully y'all can hear me over the fans on the printer. We'll find out, won't we? So here we go. This is the basics of the printer. So we have an SD card here, which I put our files on. So we're going to stick the SD card inside over here where the SD card reader is. So we can slap that in there, and it says card inserted. Woo! Alright, a little bit about the screen here, what we've got. As you can see here, we've got the extruder temperature, we've got the bed temperature, we have the position of X, Y, and Z. Now, of course, that's not true right now, but that's where it thinks it is. Okay, because right now the head's sitting in the middle of the printer, and it hasn't zeroed everything yet, but that's okay. We got here, this is the percentage of the speed the printer is going to run at. It's going to run at 100%. Now, we can control that. We can make it slower, we can make it faster if we want, and we can make it slower. And we can do that by turning the knob. And we can actually do that while it is printing. So if we notice it looks like the quality is not as good as we want, you can always turn it down and make it print a little slower so the quality improves. Or if you know you've got it dialed in real good and you need to speed up the print and you're willing to sit here and watch your print for a little while, you can crank up the speed and make it print a little bit faster. So you have those abilities on here. Alright. So, what else we've got on here is this is the SD card percentage complete. And this is the time it's taken to print. So that's really cool to have. Alright, so what you do is you want to get into the system and go through the settings, push the black button, push the knob in one time, and then you have info screen, which is where we just came from. We also have the prepare settings. Now underneath prepare, we have stuff like you can disable the stepper motors, which is really good in case the motor's locked up, and you can disable them. And that'll let you move the head around if you want to. You can also do an auto home. So if you were to click on auto home, it'll home the bed. In fact, we can do that here real quick. Let's just pan back here just a little bit. And we'll look up. There we go. So if we click on auto home, you can see that the printer is homing itself. There we go. We can also do a preheat for PLA and a preheat for ABS. We can also do a cool down. So if you preheated it, now you want to cool it down, you can click cool down. Switch power off. I don't know what that does, to be honest with you. You also have your move axes. So if we want to, we can come down here and we can move our axes. We have our X, Y, Z, and extruder. So let's go to the Z real quick. And we'll go up here and raise the extruder up off the bed. As you can see. There we go. Let's zoom back in here on the controller. Alright. We can do that, or if we wanted to, we can move our X or our Y. And if we had it heated up, we could do our extruder. We don't have the extruder heated up right now, so we're not going to mess with that. But we will when we get ready to do our print. We'll go through that one. Now I have noticed on stuff, if you do like the 10 millimeters, you can only move your X and your Y. You don't have your Z and extruder at 10 millimeters. It only does it at the 1, or I believe they're also there for the 0.1. So it won't do it on the 10 millimeters, but it will do it on the 1 millimeter. Okay. So that's all of our prepare. We also have our control. Now, underneath the control here, we have our temperatures. And you have your nozzle in your bed. If you want to set them from here, you can, and then it'll go ahead and heat up to that temperature. You can also control your fan speed from here. I don't know what auto temp does. Then you have your min and your max, and then your factor, and then a bunch of other settings. I don't know what they do. But then you're going to get to preheat PLA config. So you can come in here and you can set your configuration for it. So the fan speed is at 255, the nozzle is at 210, and the bed is at 50. That should be fine with those settings. If you also want to, you can go in and configure your ABS. So this is what it currently has it set at by default. Now I already had set, I went in and modified the PLAs because I like my bed temperature at 50, but it had it at 55. No big deal, I just modified it. Motion and store memory. I looked under the motion, other than the Z offset, which when you set up your G code, if you set up your G code in Cura the way it's set up, you can just change your offset in there. That should override this offset, but I'm not sure if it does or not. We'll have to find out when it comes time to when we get to that point. Other than that, I'm not sure what the rest of these settings are. I'll have to look into it and see if I can find out. I just haven't had time to dig up what all of these settings are. Some of these settings may be important and may need to be changed so we can actually get it to print correctly. So far, I haven't printed anything, so I don't know if it's a problem yet or not. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to go ahead and heat it up for PLA. And as you can see now, it has your extruder temperature set to 210 and your bed temperature set to 50, and as you can see, they're heating up. Now, as you can also see, it has repositioned the X and Y axis and the Z to where it is. That's really nice. So now I know the Z is at 9. I know the X and Y where their positions are. It's really nice to know. And as it prints, you can also see these numbers will change as it's printing, so you can see that, which we'll see here in just a minute when we get to the actual printing. So we're going to let this heat up, and as soon as this gets heated up, we'll be right back. Alright guys, as you can see, we're up the temperature now. We're at 210 and 50. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run here real quick. I just put filament in it. So I'm going to run down here to move. Then we'll go to 1. Then we go down to extruder. And we can tell it to extrude, let's say about 50. There we go. Now she's starting to extrude. Let's clean the head off here just a little bit. So there we go. We've printed out 50. That's pretty good. Have to see how well this actually works. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We're going to go down to print from SD. Now as you can see, we have 2 models on here. Do all that again here real quick. You see we have 2 models. We have the Benchy, and then we have, oops. It doesn't like to sit on the screen very long. You can't let it sit forever. We have the Benchy, and then we have the 22 millimeter. So we're going to go down to the 22 millimeter cube. And we're going to hit that. And now it says heating. Heating done. For some reason my GoPro does not want to come on. At all. Which is not good. Alright guys. We got issues here with the GoPro today. calibration. While it's printing, we can see that there's a pause print, so we're going to pause it real quick. I'm going to see if I can get the GoPro running real quick. There we go. Time-lapse set up. And we can resume print. There we go. That it's done now. It says 20 minutes. Actually, it only took 15 minutes because about 5 minutes of that was me trying to get my GoPro working. So it only took about 15 minutes to run. According to this, down here across the bottom, it was 19 minutes. So I guess it would be 14 minutes because about 5 minutes of that was me trying to get the GoPro working. Alright, well, I'm going to get this one pulled off the bed, and then we'll reset the whole thing up again, and we will print out the benchy. Alright, guys, here we go. Here's our cube. See if we can set the focus in okay for you. Alright, now we remember our dimensions. It's supposed to be 20 by 20 by 10.9 to the top of the line that shows your XY axis. So, that is true. Then if we take our calipers, which is zeros, and we put it on here, we get right at 20, maybe 20.01. That's really good. And then if we turn it the other way, so we're calibrating the next axis. Get it to settle in right at 20, maybe a hair over 20. So if we do the z-axis and we make sure we catch those lines, there we go, 10.9. So it looks like the calibration's good. It looks like this works great right out of the box. Let's try our benchy test and see how that comes out.
Don't try this yourself. It's extremely dangerous.
There we go. That is the finish of the print. Alright, as we can see here, it says it took it 1 hour and 23 minutes. So that's actually pretty good. I believe Kira said it'd be 1 hour and 19 minutes to do this. So, if we get done in 1 hour and 23 minutes, is pretty good. Alright guys, here we go. Here is the Benchy. As we can see, it's pretty good shape. I mean, I don't know how well you can tell, but the front end's a little rough. The bow of the ship is a little rough through here. I didn't do this real smooth. But I can probably correct that with some simple temperature settings. I mean, I am printing it pretty hot. We'll have to try that at some better temperature settings. The doorways seem to come out pretty good. The holes up here in the front came out fairly well. Smokestack seemed to come out pretty good instead of the roof. Instead of the back window, it has a little bit of stringing and stuff around the top of it. So does this doorway. Got a little bit of mess up in the top up here. For the most part, it looks pretty good. I mean, this is the first time I've printed it, so I don't have a whole lot to judge on. But I'll probably tweak some settings, maybe try a little lower temperature, play around with the temperature settings and stuff, speed settings, and see if I can't get it to come out a little bit nicer. But all in all, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, guys, there you go. Thank y'all for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, have a great day. Alright guys, here's a quick update on the house. I do want to start off by apologizing for the sound quality in that last video through most of it. I'm so sorry. The mic I had I didn't know it wasn't working when I was recording everything, and by the time I got around to editing, I just didn't have time to re-record all of it, so sorry about that, guys. I'll promise I'll do better in the future. But here we go. Quick update on the house. Here we go. We'll just kind of go back in time a little bit. Here's the lot. Here's a picture of them starting to clear the lot with a little bit more clearing done. And here we can see this is where they're hauling off all the lumber on the lot. This is the lot leveled. As you can see now, it's all nice and level. Here's the box. This is called boxing a house, if you don't know. It's basically just the outline shape of the foundation of the house. In my case, it's a slab house, so there's no basement, so it's a slab. So that'll be the shape of the slab. As you can see it just a little bit better there. And here they are. They had just got done putting the plumbing in the slab and getting ready to pour the slab. You can see they're digging the footers around the outside right there. And there you can see all the plumbing's in, the footers are done. Here's a little bit better picture of it. You can see that they got the gravel down and the plastic, and it's basically all ready to be poured. And it's just a little bit better picture of it. A little quick tour of the house right here. I know it's kind of hard to see my mouse, but if you can. Right here is the garage, and the garage goes into the breakfast area, which then goes into the kitchen. And right here where this big long white pipe is, that's actually where my kitchen sink goes. This little nook you see coming off here, over here by the edge, that's the dining room. This space here and right in here, all that across there, all the way back to the front of the house, that's the living room. And just behind it here, where you see these pipes coming up, this is where the hot water heater sits, and the washer and dryer go in here. This over here would be the hall bathroom, and this over here would be the master bathroom. This area all throughout here is the master bedroom. I know it's kind of hard to say, and it looks kind of weird here, but you just have to trust me, that's where it is. And then the two front bedrooms are over here. So that's a quick tour of the house. I know you can't really tell looking at it like this, and it'll hopefully be framed in a week or two now. And then once it gets framed, we can take a tour. I'll walk y'all through the framing, and you get a better idea. So until next time, guys, have a great day.